What's up, castaways? Miles Away here. So today I'm going to show you guys how to turn this into this. So recently I entered the Red Means Recording Pharlight remix competition. So for those of you guys that don't know Red Means Recording, he's a really awesome creative YouTuber. You should check out his channel here. And he put on a remix contest for his really beautiful ambient song, Antichthon. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And for fun, I decided to enter. So I was very humbled to see that I won grand prize. Thanks to Native Instruments and Red Means Recording for putting this out. I ended up getting a copy of Complete 12 Ultimate, which I'm going to be doing a review video of really soon. But today, I wanted to show you guys how I made that remix and hopefully give you guys some ideas for how I usually remix songs, how I can create kind of different sounding remixes out of very different source material. So hopefully this video helps you guys with some inspiration about how you guys can up your remix game. Remixes are one of my favorite things to do. I've done tons of them over the years. And yeah, if you like this content, please remember to subscribe and hit that bell and hit the like button. It really helps the channel, and I'll see you guys in Logic. Alright, so to start off, when you're making a remix, it's always a good idea to decide what kind of energy level or style you want to go for. Because, for example, this song is very slow and ambient, and I knew that I wanted to make a more energetic, upbeat remix. So what I did is I decided to speed up the stems. So originally, they're very slow. They sound like this. Now, by speeding them up, you really add a lot of energy to the song. So next step after that was going to be to find some sort of melodic content that I could base my remix off of in terms of the main theme of the remix. And I found this sky piano stem that I really liked. So what I believe is a great way to start a remix is take a stem you really like and chop it up to make it something completely different. So that sounds like this once it's chopped up. So what I really like about that is it keeps the tonal and kind of timbral original feel of the remix, but totally changes it up. And in my personal opinion, I think a good remix should still sound as if it kind of, relates to the original in some way, but makes it unpredictable and new so that you actually, as a listener, have a reason to listen to the new remix versus just the original song. That's just my opinion. So moving on, we can kind of see what else I did to kind of mirror and follow that piano. I chopped up some other things. So for example, one sounds like this. So really cool synth from Jeremy. That's actually two versions of it, one pan, one left and right, but it's the same synth. So what I did is I put that through a guitar amplifier. So I did have to bounce this down to save CPU as my computer is pretty old, but sounds like this once it's through the guitar amplifier with some OTT and EQ. Really a huge sound. Like, it really adds so much to the chord stack, and I think that's what I want you guys to take away from this, is that never be afraid to try different unique ways of using a plugin. Like, if you have some sort of pretty ambient sound, throw it through the gnarliest distortion that you can possibly find, and you'll never know how it sounds. I personally love guitar amplifiers, guitar amp sim plugins. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know I do almost all my vocal chops through guitar amps. I do a lot of my leads through there. I find that just putting random things through a guitar amplifier is one of the best ways when you're making a remix to get some unexpected but creative results. So all in all the chords together sound like this, making kind of the main theme of the drop. Really cool to see what you can accomplish when you're just, stuck with limitations. For this contest, we actually were only allowed to use Jeremy's stems and then the demo of Pharlight. So you'll see a couple things that say Pharlight. That's the plugin from Native Instruments. Really great plugin, by the way. But that's the only plugin that we are allowed to use for an instrument besides drums and the stems of the original track. So moving on here, we've got the bass, which I did a similar thing. I wanted it to follow that new piano chord progression I made. So I love using, again, original stems, but kind of alternating them in different ways. So I took the bass that Jeremy had and I chopped it up until it sounded like this. So as you guys can hear, it's following the piano, but playing its own rhythm. It's doing this kind of choppy, bouncy thing. But I did want to make it sound totally different. And again, I really like when my tracks have that kind of aggressive mid bass that really fills up the low end above the sub, below the chords. So again, using the same guitar plugin, which is STL Tonality, I put it through and it sounds like this. You guys will really frequently hear me use that kind of bass sound in my tracks. It's really, really aggressive and big and stereo, but it has almost no low end because I've cut out the low end. And also just by the nature of distorting and saturating things, you're not getting the cleanest low end anyway. So you're not going to be really losing that much information for the sound by doing that. Below that, here's one of the few places in the song where I did use the Pharlight demo. I just wanted a really clean sub bass, which sounds like this. So some basic processing. It's just a bass preset from Pharlight that I turned off all the reverb and delay and effects on. Where a couple more interesting parts are found, however, though, is here. I actually sampled one of Jeremy's lead sounds, and that's a big tip for me for when you guys are making remixes. Try to find a couple one-shots of leads or vocal chops or something you like and create your own sampler instruments out of them. It really adds a lot of cool kind of, fresh versions of the original song. So what I did here, I took this neat lead sound that Jeremy had, and I used it to make the main melodic theme of the track. This is another way that I like to make my remixes still kind of pay homage to the original. So even though this is, a totally different style song, I use the same color pluck lead that he did. And I just use it in my own way with a new melody and a new kind of, context of the song. Over top of the entire song, I really do like to use ambient kind of random fills and things from the original stems. Again, going back to that thing we were talking about where just anything to sort of make it tie back into the original and share that same DNA. So here, throughout a lot of the song actually, and we'll look at this in verse 2 as well, we have these nice little additional bell and pluck sounds that Jeremy put in his song, and I have them kind of playing through to add color. Very cool stuff there. All right, so the final part that I want to touch on here is the vocal chops in the drop. So what I did here, instead of just using one lead that would stay static and kind of just, play the melody without much interest and without much movement, I actually took the Pharlight demo, which we were allowed to use, and I bounced out 9 separate instances of the melody that I wrote. And then I picked and chose each syllable that I liked from each of those instances of the melody. Now what that did is that gave me this really unique kind of choppy but movement-based smooth sound. And then after all that, what I did is I bounced it up an octave to be an octave higher, and then also put another one through, you guessed it, the guitar plugin. So altogether, that sounds like this. You'll notice that I had to bounce that down because my computer really just is not able to process all this while I'm recording the screen. So apologies if you keep seeing the cuts for that reason. All right, so that pretty much brings us to a close here. Again, this was a super fun remix to work on because it was a nice challenge. I always really like working with limitations, and here there was no different. Really having to work with just Jeremy's stems and also the Pharlight demo along with just a drum kit of your choice really made for a fun experience of trying to see if I could recreate that kind of classic, miles away, big, epic, future-based sound without using my trusty analog synths or Serum. So yeah, I personally like how it turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. That brings this to a close. As I mentioned before, huge shout out, huge thanks to Red Means Recording and Native Instruments. It was a really fun remix contest to enter, and I'm going to be uploading a review of Complete 12 Ultimate soon. Until then, see you guys in the next video.